Funny 97.3.
Yo, homie's over here trying to tell some jokes.
We're just across the dial at 97.3. It's all comedy, all the time for Phoenix.
The opinions expressed on this show are those of the host and are not meant to diagnose or treat any particular medical issue. Always check with your doctor or eye care professional before making any changes to your vision care. Now the talk continues on Entertaining Talk Radio, NBC 1260 and 96.1 FM. This is Healthy Eyes with Dr. C, live from the Best Buy studios at NBC 1260 and 96.1 FM, every Saturday from 2 to 3 p.m. For many of us, our eyes are more than just a window to our world. They're part of how people perceive us, how we look, as well as how we see ourselves and others. There's so much more to Healthy Eyes than just their shape and color. Get in on the conversation. Call 480-423-1260 right now and find out how to keep your world in sharp focus for many years to come. Now with Healthy Eyes, here is your host, Dr. C.
7 minutes after the hour at NBC 1260 and 96.1 FM. This is Healthy Eyes. NBC 1260 and 96.1 FM. We are live from the Best Buy studios and actually on the road, on Indian School Road, heading towards the studio. And welcome to the show, Dr. C.
Hey, Mark. Where the heck are you?
I am just passing the KFC, 81st Street, and Indian School Road, and looks like a little bit of traffic happening, but all's clear at Jack in the Box.
So it's okay. I'm hanging here. I'm ready for you.
I can see a lot further since I was at your office, but I don't have my glasses yet.
They haven't come in yet?
They actually called me. They called the house that I'm supposed to make an appointment to come by and pick them up, but I just haven't had an opportunity to do that. And I really need to do that because I don't know how long they held them before they send them back, but I don't like the threat that I'm not going to be able to pick them up anytime soon. I don't know how long they hold them.
Don't worry, we hold them for a long time. Some people are in a hurry to get them. Other people, they just kind of sit there for a while.
Cool. So we have a couple of exciting things coming up. We actually have a live broadcast and some live activities coming up that we'll be talking about.
Yeah. You want
to
talk about them now, or you want to wait?
Let's talk about them now because it's kind of exciting and kind of a great way to start off the show.
Yeah, well, we're going to do a remote broadcast from my office on the 16th of June, and we're going to have a guest from Transitions Optical. They're going to talk about the new product that Transitions just launched. It's called Transitions Vantage, and it's actually a lens it's pretty amazing when you think about it. The lens, as it turns dark, also polarizes. And I call the lens magic, for lack of a better term, because how they get it to do that, through the molecular structure, I have no idea. They tried to explain it to us, and they have all the compounds written up there, and it does this, and this. But it's pretty amazing that as it gets darker, as it darkens, it polarizes too. So you'll be able to have the polarization effect outside in the sun also. But just like regular transitions, it'll get lighter inside, and the polarization will go away. But it's a pretty awesome product, and they launched it a few weeks ago, and we're going to be talking to the local rep about it and have some giveaways at the office while we talk about other things too.
How does polarizing actually help people see better? For instance, in the like when people are fishing, we gave that example last week.
Well, polarization works to cut glare down. Glare is from light coming from different angles and different sources, and so when you have a polarized lens, like they always talk about fishermen, because you get a reflection off of the water into your eyes. Well, if you can cut down on that reflected light and only let light come in that's straight ahead of you, so to speak, you're gonna see a heck of a lot better. So we always talk about polarization for sunglasses. Fishermen is one thing. Truck drivers are another, that are high off the road and they're going into the sun, or the sun's in a position where they're getting a reflection off of the roadway. It's going to help cut that down. The only negative, I think polarization is great in most cases. The only negative I see to polarization is presently a lot of the electronics that we use are polarized also. So you have to kind of play with your phone or an iPad or something, and you have to turn it sideways or turn it a different angle so the polarizations don't counter each other and you can see it better. But outside of that, polarization really helps you see better in certain situations.
So polarization is kind of lines that are either horizontal or vertical. And I know one of the ways to test and find out if you've got a really good pair of glasses is to actually take two pairs of them, hold one horizontal, hold one vertical, and see if they completely block out and become opaque.
That's exactly right.
So how is it that...
Who taught you that?
I learned that in broadcast school.
Okay, yeah, that is true.
Learned a lot of optical stuff in broadcast school. But how is, I mean, it kind of doesn't really make sense if you think about it, other than for things like 3D. Like we know that the more modern 3D lenses, when you go to the theater and you're like at IMAX or whatever it might be, one eye is polarized horizontal, one's vertical, so that they each see an actual different image at the same time. How is it that that helps you somehow by either making some things vertical, some things horizontal? Explain how that works.
Okay, well, it has nothing to do, in this case, it has nothing to do with vertical and horizontal. All you're doing is it's not allowing light to come through that isn't on the polarization plane. So if it's coming from any other direction, the light can't come through. And so it's kind of like having a vertical blind here in the office that I'm looking through outside that I think I saw you just drive by. That if I'm looking in that orientation, I can see well, but if I would be counter to that, it'd be hard to see out of there. So you just make it so that the light coming in is in the range that you want it to come in, or the direction that you want it to come from. Whereas when you're looking at 3D, what you're essentially doing is making someone look at a disparate image. When we're looking with two eyes, each eye is going to look at something from it's only a slight different angle, but since your eyes aren't in the same place, you see it from two different spots. So when they want you to see 3D artificially, they have one eye see one image, they put another image right next to it that only the other eye can see, and then your brain takes those two images, and because they aren't in the same place, the brain puts them together in a three-dimensional figure. So it's really not the same as polarization. You could kind of say that it is, but it's really not. You're trying to make two disparate images, and one eye sees one thing and one eye sees the other, where with polarization, you're still using both eyes together. You're just limiting the light that comes in.
Does that have any relationship to the test that you did where you asked me if I could see when I was kind of like seeing different things out of both eyes, and then suddenly the image was merging both horizontal and vertical?
No, those are unrelated. I was testing your eye muscles there to see where your eyes like to rest and how well they moved from side to side. That wasn't measuring anything to do with depth perception or anything to do with polarization or anything like that. And he's back.
And he's back on the right microphone. Everything's good. So 14 minutes after the hour, you're listening to Healthy Eyes. We are live from the Best Buy studios at NBC 1260 and 96.1 FM. 480-423-1260, the number to call if you'd like to get in on the conversation. And what do you think that we should probably be talking about for maybe the rest of the show?
Dry eyes.
Dry eyes?
Dry eyes, yeah.
Dry eyes is interesting. And also we want to talk a little bit more about that live event because we might have some special stuff coming up. And people who are into, I don't know if you've read it, but the kind of talent show idea. I don't know what you thought about
I
that.
read it a little bit at the office before I left. I was seeing patients this morning.
We can ask people on the air what they think about that, and they can call in and see if they'd
just
like
the people that have talent will call in and say it's a great idea.
Okay, 14 minutes after the hour, you're listening to Healthy Eyes on NBC 1260 and 96.1 FM. We will be back with more of Healthy Eyes right after this.
The doctors and staff of Tempe Eye Care Associates at 7511 South McClintock Drive in Tempe are committed to providing you state-of-the-art eye care services and products in a comfortable and friendly atmosphere. Remember the Bionic Man? We're not quite there yet, but we're not as far away as you might think. Through annual comprehensive eye examinations, the goal at Tempe Eye Care Associates is to not only maximize your visual performance, but to ensure and maintain your healthy eyes. As part of your annual examination, your visual acuity will be measured and a test known as refraction is conducted to determine your eye's refractive power. Further tests are performed to determine your visual coordination, muscle control, and focusing abilities. Your examination will include a comprehensive evaluation of your eye health to detect diseases such as glaucoma, cataracts, and retina and optic nerve abnormalities. The ocular health evaluation includes neurological assessments, measurement of internal eye pressure, and a thorough examination of the internal and external structures of the eye. Tempe Eye Care Associates also offers the OptoMap Retinal Examination System. OptoMap allows many patients the option to forego dilating drops by providing an ultra-wide view of the retina. While it doesn't replace dilation in all patients, it's an option for many. After performing these tests, their doctors will discuss your results and, if needed, explain your prescription and give you a better understanding of your overall eye health. Traditional options such as glasses, contact lenses, and eye medications will be discussed, as well as any other options you may need to consider. Dr. C is available to assist you personally, so you know you're getting the best available eye care, even if you're not on the Valley's basketball, baseball, hockey, or football teams. You'll see better after you see Dr. C. To make an appointment to visit Dr. C, call his office right now at 480-967-4910. That's 480-967-4910. Help keep your eyes healthy regardless of where you live in the Valley by starting with a call to the office of Dr. C. 480-967-4910 today. 480-967-4910. Or visit www.tempeeyecareassociates.com. That's www.tempeeyecareassociates.com.
Now the talk continues, and you're just a phone call away on Entertaining Talk Radio, NBC 1260 and 96.1 FM. Welcome back to Healthy Eyes with Dr. C. Every Saturday from 2 to 3 p.m. Arizona time. Get in on the conversation. Call 480-423-1260 right now and talk about your healthy eyes on the air. Once again, with Healthy Eyes, here's your host, Dr. C.
18 minutes after the hour, we're live from the Best Buy studios at NBC 1260, 96.1 FM. If you want to give us a call, the number is 480-423-1260. That's 423-1260. And we're here talking with myself and Mark, our producer. We're talking about most everything that comes up. We haven't even gotten to the subject of the day. We were talking about polarization and somehow got into 3D. And a few other things. And before we go on to the subject that I chose for the day, you wanted to talk a little bit more about this live event we're going to have.
Yeah, and there's not a dry eye in the house, by the way.
Oh, my. You'll find out there's more than you think.
Interesting, interesting. So the live event, we actually need some help. We need some folks to call in and let us know what you think. We want to turn this into more than just a... I don't want to belittle it because it's very important to have an eye care event and call attention to eye care, different lines of products that can help you a lot more than maybe potentially even others. But also, what do you think of the idea of this I See music kind of thing? So basically having a talent show kind of thing where patients who have come in, and I envision maybe young folks who are interested in either breaking into music, who are also your patients, They have gone through the process of getting their eyes screened. They can see the music, if you will, and then have the opportunity to sing or, kind of share their musical ability on the air during the time that we do the broadcast and kind of do some music live.
Well, you're the I don't want to call you a huckster, but you're the promoter. So I'll kind of defer to you guys. I'll be inside talking about what I need to talk about and doing eye exams, and we're going to have a a few frame vendors there that we work with all the time that are going to come in and just show all their product lines just to give people an idea of what they have. And so they'll probably, typically when you do a trunk show like that, they give deals. So anyone that wants to come in and get a frame that they could use now or use later, they can do that. But transitions will be there, and they'll be having specials on transitions lenses that day. We'll probably be giving away some coupons for people that come in or call into the show for transitions that day or later. And so we'll do our end from the ophthalmic side. As far as the promotion, it's going to be between you and my staff and maybe Courtney from Transitions. You guys come up with whatever you think will work, whatever's fun. We'll set something up out front with a little bit of shade and maybe have some food.
Cool. And where did the term trunk show come up for this?
A trunk show, that is something that a frame vendor will do. That if they've got some new products or they've got something they want to showcase, they'll come in because these guys travel with these trunks. All their frames are in these. I know I'm in trouble when they start coming through the door and they got all these trunks with them and they're on wheels now and they're coming in to show all their wares to my optical staff. And because everything stops in the office and everyone runs over there to look at the new frames. And so I'm standing there by myself with a patient, wonder what's going on. It's like, hey, but or they'll come at different hours after the doctor says, hey, we can't be stopping everything here when these guys come in. But so it's a trunk show because they bring all their stuff with them and they bring it out, and that way, typically we purchase what we think is going to work the best for our patients. As far as the demographics that we have and the age ranges that we have, because you're not going to be able to put every frame that someone has on the board. So when they come, they bring them all. And so if you want to see it in a different color, you want to see it in a different size, you want to see it a little bit different here, there, and everywhere, if they've got it or if they make it, they have it in their trunk.
So when they bring in these frames, what are some of the innovations? I mean, I'm sure fashion plays a huge part in what people select when they want their frames. What's innovative and what's new that you see that you haven't maybe seen before when they bring a trunk in?
Well, they're always trying to make things lighter and simpler, in essence. And so, titanium now has been out for a while, but they're doing a lot more with titanium. They're doing a lot more with alloys that are hard to break, or you can take let's say a Flexon frame and you can turn it and it won't break. I mean, you can actually twist those things and they don't break, where some frames still break very easily. So between titanium and the other alloys, that's important. They're coming up with screws are always a problem with frames. Losing a screw or getting it caught in there and it doesn't, the thread stops and it's hard to get.
Excuse me, Dr. C, I've got a screw loose.
Well, that's true, and that happens, and we can also use it in other ways. But don't even go there because Tony will call in a second if you go along that.
Hey, Dr. C.
Yeah, I need a screw. Yeah. It's like join the club, but get in line. But but nonetheless, because I mean we've heard them all.
Guess where I pulled that one out of?
30 years in the industry, we've heard them all. But nonetheless, so a lot of companies are now coming up with ways to make the hinges screwless. So that way we don't have to worry about losing a screw or having it come out on people. Oh, come on. It's going to be like, I'm not even going to say the other words that you always laugh at, but so those are some of the technologies they're coming up with in frames. They're using a lot more, bling is the end thing now. You're speaking of fashion. So they're making a lot of frames that have, I'm not going to say they're jewels. They're not jewels, but they're fake. But they're putting bling on the side of frames. They're putting, the other thing is to have names, just like everything else, whether it's on your jeans or on your frames. If it has a designer name on it, some people like that. Personally, I think if the frame looks good, it doesn't have to have the name on it because you're just paying for the name typically. So
I can see you coming over with a new pair of frames. Dude, like your jewels. Yeah. You just smack me down.
There's a few things you could say that I would do that about. But,
better off having a screw loose.
But frames, they're a fashion statement. And so some people go all out with them and other people just want the minimum it takes to hold their lenses on their nose and see out of them. So it's a very personal decision that people make.
Interesting. Well, if you have an opinion as to what kind of a promotion would you be interested in not only being a part of, listening to, 480-423-1260 is the number to call. Is music a good idea? Would you like to hear some people? And do you have patients, Dr. C, that are musical or exceptionally talented that have made you aware that they are?
I have some that have made me aware. I was going to say I probably have a lot that are musically inclined that never comes up. As a matter of fact, sometimes it comes up just in conversation when I ask them about the needs they have, the visual needs they have. And where it typically comes up is after the age of 40, when we start needing the reading glasses. Anyone that plays music is typically going to talk to me about seeing at the distance, arm's length, which is different than your normal reading area. And so sometimes it's where their computer is at, sometimes it's not. They have to be able to look up and see the conductor, but they have to have enough area to see out of. So if someone plays music professionally, or if it's a hobby that they spend a lot of time at, they'll tell me about it because they need to see at a distance that's not a quote unquote normal distance. And the other problem is that it's typically not down, but it's in front of them, and they have to be able to see over the top of that to see the conductor or to see whoever it is that's guiding them. So yeah, a lot of people tell me that they do, but I'm sure there's a lot more that do it as a hobby that never comes up. I probably have some talented patients out there.
Interesting. Okay. So dry eyes. Why is dry eyes, and I know like we're in the desert and that sort of thing. When I had my eye care assessment, one of the comments that was made was, I was asked if I had dry eyes, and then when I said no, there seemed to be a little bit of a surprise because we're in the desert and dry eyes is such a prevalent thing that people complain about as they come to your office, I guess.
Well, yeah, it is very common here because of the desert, because it's 110 degrees, 0% humidity. But dry eyes, it's big all over the place, all over the country, for various reasons, because a lot of it is environmental, but a lot of it we also bring upon ourselves, and we'll talk about through medications that we take and things we do with our own environments. But obviously, when you're in the desert, things are going to be drier. And so we get a lot of complaints of dry eye, but dry eye is also something that is ignored by a lot of people. I think there are a lot of doctors out there that if the patient's not complaining about it and they don't see too many symptoms, they don't worry about it, even if there is a little bit of something there. And a lot of patients just accept dry eye or accept the symptoms that they have with dry eye as being something that is just part of living in the desert or just part of wearing contacts or just part of something in their lives where it's always been that way and there's nothing we can do about it, so let's just move on. And so I don't expect everyone to come in complaining of dry eyes just because we live in Arizona, but it's something that some symptoms that you personally have could very well be dry eye symptoms that you just don't perceive that way. And
that's interesting.
We'll talk about some of those, here in a little while when I go over a dry eye workup with you. I'll actually ask you some of the questions that we ask patients when they come in for a dry eye eval. Because what we do, typically, if someone comes in for an eye exam and they're there to be refracted and they want to get their glasses prescription, they want us to check the health of their eyes. If I find a symptom of dry eye that is more than just a small amount, or if they have a big complaint about dryness and it's more than I want to do at that point in time because it'll put me behind for all the rest of the patients, I'll have them come back in for a dry eye evaluation where we do a lot of other different tests rather than just look at their eyes with the microscope.
You don't just give them a little squirt and send them on the way?
Yeah, just say, put these drops in, which now I do that a lot. I mean, I will tell a lot of patients that are, borderline dry eye or they don't have a lot of symptoms to try an artificial tear. And, if it doesn't work, they can come back for a dry eye eval because a lot of times that's all they need. They just need a little kick of solution in there every once in a while and they'll do fine. But other people, it can be a source of a lot of discomfort. It could be a source of not being able to focus, to see. I always know when someone's having a dry eye problem when they tell me they have to blink a lot. If you have to blink a lot to make your vision clearer, that's almost always going to be dryness. It could be a few other things, but it's almost always going to be dryness or an unstable tear film because you have to blink a few times to make the tear film more uniform, and then you see better. So the tear film has a lot to do with how we see. Some people don't do well on some of the tests we run on them, not necessarily because they have a problem, but because their eyes are dry and we're not getting a good reflex back from all the lights that we're shining in there.
So this tear film that you're talking about, you typically see through that and that keeps your eye from drying out?
Yeah.
You constantly have that on your eyeball?
Constantly. And we'll talk about that too. I mean, I didn't know we were going to spend a half hour in the preliminaries, so we may not get to it today, but this is fine. I like the way this flows. But there are three components to your tear film, and the tears are 90% of that, but the other two parts of this tear film are very important. Otherwise, it's not going to work. So it's a system that works together of three different types of solutions to make the tear film a uniform body.
Interesting. 30 minutes after the hour, you're listening to Healthy Eyes on NBC 1260 and 96.1 FM. We are live this Saturday afternoon from the Best Buy studios give us a call. Get in on the conversation. 480-423-1260 is the number to call. We will be back with more of Healthy Eyes right after this.
Hi, I'm Mark Shander, executive producer of Healthy Eyes, every Saturday from 2 to 3 p.m. right here on NBC 1260 and 96.1 FM. Your eyes are more than just your window to the world. They're how other people see you and sometimes see right through you. Find out how to protect your vision with the latest technology in eye care this Saturday from 2 to 3 p.m. right here on NBC 1260 and 96.1 FM.
My wedding is one of the most important events in my life. My Uncle Tony wants to videotape it with his new HD camcorder he keeps telling me about. But to me, my wedding video is like what my ma's wedding album is to her. I want it to be the best, and I want to watch it and remember it together with my husband for the rest of our lives. I want to trust my wedding video to Michael at Post Productions.
With an investment of thousands of dollars in professional video equipment, Michael helps communicate your feelings by understanding how you want your video to look, how you want to feel when you watch it, and how special this video is to you.
By calling Michael at Post Productions to do my wedding video, I know Michael is making my dream day something I'll remember forever, again and again. And thank you, Uncle Tony. I'll always treasure your video too.
That's Michael Miller at Post Productions, 480-862-2017, or visit www.post-productions.com. Remember, together for a lifetime.
Come on, Lisa, let's go before it gets dark.
Well, we haven't talked to everybody yet. Why do you want to go so soon?
You know I don't like driving at night. The lights on oncoming traffic and reflections are just awful.
I'll drive back tonight. I have my anti-reflective lenses with me. I don't have that problem.
Works for me. Let's get some more food.
Later that same evening,
Okay, everybody, smile for the camera.
Wait, I need to get my glasses off. They always reflect the light, and I don't like the way they look.
That's it. You're getting anti-reflective lenses too.
Yahoo!
it's easy to remember to ask for Kodak lenses.
Transitions Optical is dedicated to promoting healthy sight worldwide. Transitions lenses do more than correct and protect vision. They enhance the way you see everyday life. By adapting to changing light conditions, they bring out the best in all that you see, so life looks more vivid, more vibrant, more true. Transitions lenses are the #1 photochromic lenses recommended by eye care professionals worldwide. Protect your eyes and learn more about Transitions lenses by visiting your eye doctor or transitions.com.
Now the talk continues, and you're just a phone call away on entertaining talk radio, NBC 1260 and 96.1 FM. Welcome back to Healthy Eyes with Dr. C. Every Saturday from 2 to 3 p.m. Arizona time. Get in on the conversation. Call 480-423-1260 right now and talk about your healthy eyes on the air. Once again, with Healthy Eyes, here's your host, Dr. C.
27 minutes to the top of the hour. I'm Dr. John Chryssakis here with you on Healthy Eyes with Mark Shander, the executive producer. Is that what we're calling you today?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And apparently Huckster. I don't know.
Yeah.
I got this live show I got to promote.
Well, someone has to promote it. But we're live.
I feel like Reuben Kincaid. I got to get like a family band like the Partridge Family to play, and wonder where I can find it.
Hey, now we're talking. That'd be a blast from the past. Well, we can't get the monkeys anymore, so...
nah, not all of them.
But... so
my luck would get like Michael Nesmith.
We're live from the Best Buy studios. If you want to give us a call, it's 480-423-1260. Give us a call if you want to talk about dry eyes, anything else about your eyes, or even what kind of talent show you want to see on a live broadcast in about a month from our office. But we're basically getting into some dry eye conversation, and the reason I wanted to talk about it today is because it is very common, especially here in the Valley, but it's something that eye doctors all over the country are talking about and dealing with on a daily basis, because it is such a vital thing that we see. And, because the Beaver Dam study is something that we've mentioned a few times in this room. And it's because, hey, there's actually a place called Beaver Dam, Wisconsin.
Isn't that funny? If you spin it around, you can get in trouble on the radio.
Uh-huh. Yeah. But okay, now you're throwing me off again. So cut it out. So it's Beaver Dam, Wisconsin. That's where they came up with the name from. Okay, and they said that they were doing a study based looking at the prevalence and the incidence of age-related cataracts, macular degeneration, and diabetes in the population. Well, obviously, when you're talking to people about that, you're going to find out about other things that are bothering them. And even though it wasn't meant to do anything with dry eye, according to their studies, 15% of the population over the age of 40 had complaints about dry eyes, which is significant because that's actually someone coming in complaining of dry eye. And they said about 36% of the patients had symptoms of dry eye, but 15% of them, 15 are complaining. That's a large part of the population as far as complaints with dry eye. And because there are a lot of things going on that can induce dry eye, some of it is part of our bodies, but some of it's environmental. And so when we talk about environmental causes of dry eyes, there are some ways you can't get around them because there are certain disease processes that will cause dry eyes.
But before you go into that, talk about, you talked about this moisture layer that's on the conjunctiva, which is very vascular. I got to learn some more so I can spit that stuff out because it sounds like I really know.
The only reason you want to say that is because you think it's funny and you.
But the idea is we see through this moisture curtain, if you will.
Yep.
And for a lot of people, they didn't realize that. I mean, they just think you blink, your eyes get moist, and then you just hang out for a while, and you put some more moisture on them. It dries right away, but you're constantly seeing through a film of water, or I don't know if it's water. But it's moisture.
Yeah. Most of it is water-based, but there are a lot of other things in there. And so we could talk about that before we go into the causes of it. But the tear film is going to occupy the front surface of the eye. If I'm looking at you, wherever I look in the front of your eye, there are tears there. What's most important, though, are the tears that go over the cornea, specifically over the pupil, because that's what you're looking through. Because I already mentioned that when you don't have a good uniform tear layer, you're not going to see as well. Well, you're not seeing over here through the white part of your eye. So it's important that your cornea has a good tear layer, but if the conjunctiva or anywhere else is not getting a good layer of tears, that's going to become irritated physically, or it'll get red. By physically, I mean it will burn, it will sting, your eyes will tear, you'll even have some pain. A patient in this morning came in as an emergency because she had an ocular irritation. She thought she had an eye infection. She didn't have an eye infection. She had a really dry eye, which was creating dry spots on her cornea. And it's not a very comfortable thing. It wasn't quite a corneal abrasion. It wasn't that painful, but it was an irritant. Every time she blinked, she was rubbing up against these irritated spots. And so we've got to bring that cornea back into shape. But then we also, so it doesn't come back, we have to get the tear film back to the stable level that we want it to be, to not only make it a good optical surface, but that's where the eye can get nutrients from for the cornea. It's through the tear layer. There's also antimicrobial aspects to the tear film. There are certain enzymes and products in the tear film that will kill bacteria that if they get into the tear film. There are lipids in the tear film. There's an amazing thing. We have a slide that we use, or a pamphlet that we use in the office, to just show people all the things that compose the tear film. But the three layers of the tear film, the lowermost layer is the mucin layer. The mucin layer is what holds the tears to the eye. So that has to be in good shape. 90% of the volume of the tears are the tears themselves, which are basically a pH balanced salt solution that, just have a lot of these micronutrients in there for stability, for antibacterial action, for vision. And then the outermost layer of the tear film is the oily layer, and the lipid layer. And the lipid layer is a very important part of this, because most people would think if you have a dry eye, you just don't have a good aqueous layer. The aqueous layer is that middle layer, the volume of the tears. But a lot of people, especially Arizona, don't have a very good lipid layer. And if you don't have a very good lipid layer, just like oil will float to the top of water, this oil will float to the top of the tear film. And that's what protects the tears from evaporating. So if you don't have a good lipid layer, if you don't have a good oily layer on the top of over the top of your tears, the tears are just going to evaporate, especially when it's 120 degrees outside. You got 0% humidity. You got an air conditioner in the car blasting you in the face. You got a ceiling fan at home when you're sleeping blasting you in the face. You got currents everywhere, just because we have to keep the air circulating. You picture you're going to the mall. You open the door to a mall, especially this time of year, you get a blast of air, and that's because all the circulating current. Well, if you don't have a good oily layer, that current is going to start making those tears evaporate. And so you're going to get dry eye symptoms. And so the first thing that most people think is, well, let's put more tears in there. Well, if you don't have a good oil layer, you're going to put more tears in there. It's going to feel good for about 5 minutes, then it's going to go away. And so we have to try and determine whether it's aqueous or whether it's lipid, and try and fix that aspect of it to make it look better or make it work better.
So you've heard of the air curtain. Are you familiar with that at all?
No.
The air curtain is a product that they have over a door, and it constantly forces air over the door, and it typically keeps environments within a room, contained within a room.
Okay, I've seen them.
Yeah.
I didn't know that's what they were called.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they have them in like cafeterias for schools.
Yeah.
And the idea is they could keep the doors open that way, and kids can walk in and out, and you don't get like flies coming in and that sort of thing. So it's an air curtain, and it also keeps the environment a certain way. Every time you walk in that, or every time you walk out of that, I've noticed kids rubbing their eyes, and I've noticed that for years. And yet that product still,
now you know why.
Yeah. And I don't know if there's any reason, if there's a benefit. I'm not knocking that product, but I noticed that that's one particular product that after you're exposed to it, people, just are constantly rubbing their eyes.
Well, more than likely they feel that the benefit outweighs the risk, or benefit outweighs whatever eye rubbing or irritation that it might cause, which is probably going to be temporary. Got a lot of kids have dry eyes, but nowhere near as much as adults. Just like everything else we've talked about on this show for the last 13 weeks, a lot of stuff with the eyes increases with age, or it gets worse with age, and dry eye is one of them. And for various aspects that, again, we'll talk about if we ever get there. But if that air curtain helps with the flies and helps with keeping the environment in a stable state, or in a state that they wanted to, they'll probably put up with a little eye irritation.
Well, tell me more about these beavers you were mentioning.
The beaver dam study, that was just a study I brought up to talk about how prevalent it is in the population. We're done with it. We're off of that. You need to move on.
Okay.
You need to move on.
I still want number 4.
That's
was
going back to his eye exam.
That was my favorite one to look through. I don't know why, but I have some attachment to
More
that.
than likely, that was your final prescription.
Interesting.
Yeah, but you wanted to go back to it, but I wouldn't let you. So, when we talk about
one last thing.
Sure.
Again, I'm sorry to interrupt, but this is important. So if something is, a lot of people have dry eyes, and it's a common thing. It sounds like there's a lot of over-the-counter types of things that people can kind of squeeze in and avoid having to see you.
Right.
And also squeezing that in helps to mask, if you will, the symptoms or side effects of some partying kinds of things that people may not want to share, that they are under the influence potentially of. So are those products necessarily bad for you? And what about using that instead of something that you might prescribe? And then what's the difference between what you might prescribe and the over-the-counter stuff?
And the answer I'll start with here is the same thing I've done with you numerous times.
Calm down.
No, it's a
too much at once.
It's a more complicated question than it sounds. I mean, it's a good question, but I could go over each aspect of that question. I could have a show on each part of it. And that over-the-counter medications aren't necessarily a bad thing if they're being used for the right reason. I don't have any problem with someone putting an artificial tear in their eyes to see if it will help them, because artificial tears are just that. They're just artificial tears. There's no medication in them. I'll get to the other ones later that have medication, but the ones without any medication, you're just seeing if they'll help and if they'll alleviate some of the symptoms. Because some people, like I said, just have a little bit of dryness at some point in time. Maybe after they go through the air curtain, or maybe when they're in the car driving and they put a drop in and it solves the problem. That's okay. Sometimes you'll put drops in like that and it doesn't help, because it depends on, all these solutions have different ingredients. We'll just put it that way. And they each have a patent. And so you may be allergic to the preservative in one and not the other. So just because one drop works doesn't mean the other one will. But I don't have to tell you, because I don't know which one's going to work or not either. So to try an over-the-counter drop, if your eyes are a little bit dry, isn't a problem. If it helps, great. If it doesn't, then you need to do something else. As far as other drops you can put in to mask symptoms, and I believe you're probably getting to the red eye stuff. If your eyes are red for whatever reason, as you were alluding to, and you want to get rid of the redness, that's fine. On a limited basis, I don't have a problem people doing that if we know why the eyes are getting red. Otherwise, you are hiding a symptom. And so you're not doing yourself any good by constricting the blood vessels, getting rid of the redness, if you're not solving the problem, what made them that way. As a matter of fact, you might be making it worse because typically when the drop wears off, the rebound redness that you get is worse than what you had. And the longer you do it, the more problem you're more than likely going to have. So it's better to find out the cause than to just hide the symptom.
And how about for masking your toastedness?
Pardon?
We put that in layman's terms. How about for hiding a symptom of or a side effect of too much entertainment that might be recreational in nature?
So your eyes are red.
Exactly.
And you want to use, I'm not going to mention any products, but you want to use a drop that gets the red out.
There you go.
And again, if you do it and if you know why they're red and you use the drop in order to get rid of the redness, again, on a limited basis, it's not a bad thing. But again, the more you do it, the worse it's going to get in the long run. So does it work? Sure, it works. I mean, you put those drops in, you'd be surprised how white your eyes will get. But all you're doing is constricting blood vessels. You're not really doing anything to get rid of the problem. And so that's why people use them, because they work. But you're not putting yourself in a better position by doing that.
Okay, I'm going to ask a couple little side questions relating to that. 14 minutes till the top of the hour. You're listening to Healthy Eyes. We are on the air here every 2 o'clock. Try that again. 2 o'clock Saturday afternoons at NBC 1260 and 96.1 FM. We are live this Saturday afternoon from the Best Buy Studios, 480-423-1260. The number to call if you'd like to get in on the conversation and ask Dr. C a question. We will be back with more of Healthy Eyes right after this.
My wedding is one of the most important events in my life. My Uncle Tony wants to videotape it with his new HD camcorder he keeps telling me about. But to me, my wedding video is like what my ma's wedding album is to her. I want it to be the best, and I want to watch it and remember it together with my husband for the rest of our lives. I want to trust my wedding video to Michael at Post Productions.
With an investment of thousands of dollars in professional video equipment, Michael helps communicate your feelings by understanding how you want your video to look, how you want to feel when you watch it, and how special this video is to you.
By calling Michael at Post Productions to do my wedding video, I know Michael is making my dream day something I'll remember forever, again and again. And thank you, Uncle Tony. I'll always treasure your video too.
That's Michael Miller at Post Productions, 480-862-2017, or visit www.post-productions.com. Remember, together for a lifetime.
Hey Dan, how's it going?
Great. Nice looking eyeglasses.
Thanks, they look good and I can see clearer too. My doctor recommended these new digital lenses. He said that they're the latest in lens technology. It makes sense, everything is going digital. There's my ride, see ya.
Bye. Hey, what are those lenses called again?
Kodak, ask for Kodak lenses.
Kodak, huh? That'll be easy to remember.
It's easy to remember to ask for Kodak lenses.
Transitions Optical is dedicated to promoting healthy sight worldwide. Transitions lenses do more than correct and protect vision. They enhance the way you see everyday life. By adapting to changing light conditions, they bring out the best in all that you see, so life looks more vivid, more vibrant, more true. Transitions lenses are the #1 photochromic lenses recommended by eye care professionals worldwide. Protect your eyes and learn more about Transitions lenses by visiting your eye doctor or transitions.com.
Now the talk continues, and you're just a phone call away on Entertaining Talk Radio, NBC 1260 and 96.1 FM. Welcome back to Healthy Eyes with Dr. C. Every Saturday from 2 to 3 p.m. Arizona time. Get in on the conversation. Call 480-423-1260 right now and talk about your healthy eyes on the air. Once again, with Healthy Eyes, here's your host, Dr. C.
49 minutes after the hour at NBC 1260 and 96.1 FM. This is Healthy Eyes.
10 minutes before the hour?
10 minutes till the top of the hour?
Oh, yeah.
11 minutes. What did I say?
You said 49 minutes after the hour, so I'm just
yeah,
butting in like you button in on me.
It is. It's true. Now I lost where I'm at. Glass is half full, glass is half empty.
I know.
So we were. That was great. Now I know what it feels like to have it done to me. Okay. So we were talking about what happens if you use over-the-counter products to, I was calling it hiding your toastedness, and that kind of threw you off.
And you threw me way off on that one. But now I get it.
That's the Bill and Ted terminology of what is happening when you're actually buying an over-the-counter product to hide a symptom of excessive partying with things that, that you wouldn't want your folks to find, I guess.
Exactly.
So the thought is, if you're using this excessively over a period of time to mask the symptom, you were saying during the commercials, when a lot of people were actually paying attention to what was happening in that break, and listening to that girl from my cousin, it was interesting. I guess it was Fran Fine's daughter, whatever that is. So now I'm kind of going off on a tangent also.
I'm just along for the ride. Just let me know when you're done.
Okay. So the question is...
Let me know when there's a question there, Tony.
So the question is, if you use this over-the-counter eye juice for a period of time, what's the risk? What's the result? And what should potentially somebody be using instead to be able to get away with what it is that they're masking in the first place?
We've said it numerous times. Just go to a doctor and find out why they're getting red.
Well, they know why they're getting red.
Then if you have to suffer the consequences.
Oh, that's not the answer.
Yeah, well, that's basically what it is. I mean, because if you
don't do the crime if you can't pay the time.
The more you do the more you use the drops, the bigger problem you're going to have in the long run. And so, again, occasional use, everything in moderation. Occasional use isn't going to cause any problems. But if you chronically use them, and I don't care if you're using eye drops that are good for you. I mean, I give you a steroid for a problem on the eyes. You can't chronically use that. You can't use that for very long. It can cause pressure to go up in the eye.
And your eye muscles are going to get big, and then people are going to see you at the gym. And
whatever. It's like, but nonetheless, you can't use anything to excess because it's just going to bother you, unless it's something that doesn't have any medication in it, like tears. Tears aren't going to ever hurt you. The question is, are they going to help you?
Can you get that in like a drugstore or something? And would it do the same to help your eyes as the stuff that makes the red go away?
Get what?
The tears kind of stuff.
Yeah, most tears are over the counter.
And will it do the same thing? Will it make the red stuff go away?
Depends on what the cause is. It's a complicated issue in that if it's due to an irritant in the air, yes, it'll help. If it's due to dryness, it'll help. But if it's due to some chemical reaction, no, it's not going to help. Sometimes the only way you're going to get rid of that redness is to get rid of the source. So let's move on.
Not a very popular answer 7 minutes before the top of the hour. All right.
It's like, you can only do things so long and while you can hide it.
We're just looking for the secret sauce here.
No secret sauce. Sorry.
Right.
Now you sound like my 17-year-old.
Remember, I'm doing the giving you the questions that would normally come from the street.
Always looking for the easy way out,
Yeah.
So now where was I? Oh, I was talking about diseases.
Let's talk specifically about type 2 diabetes, because that's a topic that's come up many times on this show.
Yeah.
Whether we're supposed to discuss it or not, or during certain times. But the question is, why would something like diabetes or diabetes or something else cause or be something that would cause dryness of the eye as opposed to just redness and patterns on the retina?
Well, I personally don't believe that dryness is a great cause of diabetes. I mean, from diabetes, because there's a lot of other things going on with diabetes.
I hate to have to correct the doctor. It's not.
It's okay. I'd say after 50 minutes of this, I just start talking. Don't really know what I'm saying. But we don't, like, whenever I have a patient that's diabetic, I don't expect them to have dry eyes. A lot of them will, but a lot of them are going to have it for various other reasons, because most of the patients that have it are older adults that are going to be getting dry eyes anyway. Whereas the autoimmune diseases, the rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, things like that, those can definitely increase the incidence of dry eyes.
Are you definitely going to get dry eyes as you age, or is that just a symptom of getting older, or how do you avoid that?
A lot of people are, because between the autoimmune diseases, between other things that are the medications we're taking, medications you take for high blood pressure, medications, antidepressants, which isn't necessarily for older people anymore. There are medications that we take that are going to create more dryness. Accutane, if they give you Accutane for acne, that's going to dry your eyes out big time, but that's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to dry dry your skin out, well, it dries your eyes out too. Oral contraceptives, pain relievers, antihistamines, and decongestants. If they're drying out your nose and your nasal passages, they're going to dry your eyes out too. So a lot of these things that we take to help us with certain other areas, whether it's to dry something out or we're taking it for a systemic condition, can also dry the eyes out.
What about things for like migraine headaches?
Well, any pain reliever has the potential to dry you out. So it depends on what you're taking. But, narcotics are notorious for drying things out. So, you just got to watch out for the side effects of what you're taking. But certain people have to take these medications. We just have to watch the side effects of the medications to alleviate their dryness, any way we can, whether it's just with drops that are non-prescription over the counter, or do we have to go to some other method to try and increase the tear production or keep the tears they are producing in the eyes or something to make the eyes wetter.
Do we still have time for the test?
Probably not. Maybe we'll do the test next week.
Okay.
But the test is basically just the workup we do on people, the questions we ask in a workup. And the reason, and we can start it today if we have time.
Okay.
Because what this does is just by listening to the questions we ask, you start to realize that there are a lot more connections here than just my eyes are dry.
Okay, let's start it. We've got maybe a couple of minutes. We can just start to get into it and maybe see if we can draw some conclusions.
Okay, and most of this is the patient filling this out. Now we'll ask questions later, but like special considerations. Are you pregnant or nursing?
Not at this time.
I don't think so. Okay,
I would only be the nursing part of that, and that would be the recipient as opposed to.
Are you a tobacco user?
No.
And air travel more than 2 times a month?
No.
Any idea why I might ask that question?
Because the pressurization, maybe?
No. One of the driest environments known to man is an airplane.
Oh, wow.
When you think about it. And so if someone's not a chronic flyer, but they fly a lot, they're going to have dry eyes, and they know it. I have a lot of patients that they'll say, whenever I fly, I don't wear my contacts.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because they either want to sleep or it's just too dry for them.
We definitely should have gotten to this much earlier in the show. Routinely
use a ceiling fan in the bedroom?
Absolutely.
Okay. That if your eyes are open a little bit, it's going to help dry those out. Have you ever had any ocular surgery like LASIK or cataract surgery or PRK?
No, but that's an interesting question that you asked that. Does that tend to change?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Why does that change?
LASIK patients are notorious for having dry eyes, typically for at least 6 months after surgery. It can get better as the nerves innervate again, but basically because they're cutting corneal nerves, they're desensitizing the cornea and creating more of a problem with tear production. And so that's very common. So we'll always ask if you've had any type of LASIK surgery. If you're a first-time patient, we don't know you had it done. How much do you use a computer?
Frequently.
More than an hour a day?
Yep.
Okay. And do you have any allergies?
That too. And the allergies, I understand. The computer use, why is that?
The more you use a computer, the more you stare. And the more you stare, the less you blink. And the less you blink, the drier your eyes get.
You can also ask if you have some addiction. Do you have an addiction to, and then if you answer yes, it's obvious you're going to be staring much longer than an hour a day. Well, maybe some people only 10 or 15 minutes. Anyway, how do people get a hold of you?
Not listen to this show. No. No, give us a call. My office phone number is 480-967-4910. That's Tempe Eye Care Associates. And our website is www.tempeeyecareassociates.com or
www.drse.com.
Yeah. So that's how you get a hold of me.
Fantastic. And if anybody wants to learn more information about dry eyes and stuff, would you be able to just give them some information over the phone, or can they ask you a question?
Always. They can give me a call anytime. Well, don't give me a call anytime, but I'll get back to you when I can. But send me an email. Go on the website. You'll be able to do that. And or you can Google dry eyes. There's a lot of information out there.
Okay, sounds good. We will talk to you again next week and have more information for you on Healthy Eyes next week, 2 o'clock Saturday, here on NBC 1260, 96.1 FM.
NBC 1260 is KBSZ, Apache Junction. Also operates on translator K241BQ at 96.1 FM.
NBC News Radio, I'm Dan Scanlon. Moments from now, Chinese